the beginning of disappointment. In palaces draped in golden hue, where silence speaks and shadows grew, a prince once smiled with open heart, unaware that love could fall apart. Sheikh Hamdan, the falcon's heir, a soul so kind, beyond compare. He loved not for the throne or name, but for the warmth that lit his flame. She came like dawn on desert sand, a rose that bloomed beneath his hand. Her voice, a song, her gaze, divine, her laughter sweeter than the wine. He gave her verses, lines of grace. He wrote her soul in every phrase. The world could see the love he bore, but hearts conceal what eyes ignore. For beauty fades when truth is gone, and golden nights can hide no dawn. She spoke of dreams, of love, of peace, yet whispered lies that stole his ease. He built her world with royal care. He placed her name in every prayer. But trust, that fragile, sacred thread, began to break with words unsaid. The cord would whisper tales untrue, and Hamdan, hurt yet calm, withdrew. He looked at her, his shining star, but now her heart had drifted far. He saw the way her glances turned, to fleeting fame his spirit spurned. The woman once his heart's delight had learned to love the throne's soft light. No anger burned within his chest, just sorrow, deep, unspoken rest. He smiled, though tears beneath would gleam, for shattered faith can never dream. And nights grew long, and days grew cold. He watched the story slow unfold. The laughter faded, warmth declined. A distance bloomed within her mind. One evening by the marble hall, he saw her silhouette, proud, tall, her phone aglow, her eyes elsewhere, while Hamdan stood, just breathing air. He spoke her name, so soft, so kind, but silence was her only mind. She turned, surprised, with distant grace. No love was left upon her face. That night, he walked through endless sand, the moonlight pale across his hand. He thought of vows, of whispered tone, and felt how love had turned to stone. "Was I too kind?" he softly said. "Too blind to see where hearts are led?" He looked above, the stars, his friends. They shone for him, though all else ends. And there he wrote, with trembling pen, a verse for what once might have been. "I gave her light, she gave me shade. I built her throne, her love decayed. The falcon flies, but never free, for wings once burned remember thee." This was the start, the silent fall, where love once built became his wall. A prince, a poet, and a man, who trusted more than mortals can. Yet disappointment came so near. It whispered softly in his ear, "She was your muse, your heart's desire, but love without truth will tire." And so began his lonely flight, through endless sands and sleepless night. The falcon's heart, though pure and brave, now beat beneath love's quiet grave. The breaking point. The morning came with silver haze. The palace echoed silent praise. Servants bowed, the gardens bloomed, but love within his heart was doomed. He sat beside the crystal glass, where sunbeams through the curtains pass. A letter lay upon the floor, not sealed in love, but pain and more. It was her hand, her fragile mark. The scent still soft, the tone still stark. He read the words his soul once craved, but every line his heart enslaved. "Forgive the distance I have grown. The life I need is not your own. You gave me peace, you gave me fame, but now I seek another name." The ink was warm, the words were cold. They cut him deep, though calm and bold. No tear escaped, no cry was heard, for silence spoke his every word. He walked the halls in measured pace. A shadow crossed his noble face. The mirrors whispered all his fears, reflecting love of vanished years. He touched the walls where once she stood, her laughter echoing like it should. But marble now held only pain, and gold could never shine the same. The falcon's wings began to fold, his spirit quiet, his fire cold. No anger burned, just broken trust. And all his dreams returned to dust. The night arrived, the court asleep. But Hamdan's soul refused to weep. He stood before the desert's breath. Between forgiveness, love, and death. He raised his eyes to heaven's dome. And whispered soft, "I'm still alone." The stars looked down, they knew his plight. They'd seen this pain in royal light. He wrote again, his poet's hand, etching sorrow into sand. "The crown I wear is not of gold, but tears I hide, and truth untold. I gave her peace, she chose her fame. I bear the silence, not the blame." Days turned to weeks, the rumors spread, of things she did, of words she said. And though his name remained of grace, the hurt still lingered in his face. He never spoke of what was done. He smiled as if the pain had none. But every verse his hand would write revealed the ache he tried to hide. The courtiers wondered, has he changed? His eyes seemed calm yet rearranged. The poet prince, the gentle flame, now silent, thoughtful, never the same. One evening near the desert gate, he paused, as if to question fate. Her name escaped his lips once more, a ghostly echo, lost in lore. He thought of love, the early days, the laughter, poems, secret gaze. How could a soul so pure, so dear, become the cause of all his fear? The wind replied, it brushed his face, and whispered softly, "Let her grace, for love is never meant to chain, but some must lose to grow again." And so he rode beneath the sky, where falcons soar and spirits fly. His heart still bruised, yet strangely strong. He turned his grief to poet's song. He wrote of truth, of loss, of art, and healed the cracks within his heart. Though disappointed, not destroyed, he learned that pain and peace are alloyed. Disappointment taught me more than love could ever teach before. For in the breaking I became the man beyond the royal name. The desert watched his sullen ride, the dunes like waves on sorrow's tide. And somewhere far, she might have known, the heart she broke had turned to stone. Yet still he blessed her in his mind, for kindness never left him blind. He prayed for her, for peace, for grace, though tears still touched his noble face. The silence of the crown. The palace slept, but not his soul. The poet prince had lost his whole. Yet in the ruins of his heart, he found the birth of finer art. No tears remained, no words of blame, just endless nights without her name. The ink that once wrote dreams of gold, now whispered truths the world would hold. He wrote, not love, but silence deep, of promises the winds would keep. The courtiers read, the world admired, the pain within his lines inspired. To rule the world is not the crown, to rule yourself when broken down. Morning light kissed desert sand. He watched the falcon leave his hand, a symbol once of royal flight, now carried sorrow out of sight. His people saw him calm and wise, but none could see the tears disguise. He learned to wear his grief with grace, a silent power on his face. He smiled when others sought his word, but in his eyes the pain still stirred. Each verse he wrote became a prayer, each sigh a truth too deep to share. He built a garden by the sea, where roses bloomed in memory. The fountain sang, the lilies swayed, but every petal knew love strayed. He'd sit alone, the stars above, and think of her, his once true love. Not with anger, not regret, but peace and pain, he won the bet. If love must leave, then let it go, for empty hands can still bestow. What stays within, no thief can take. A heart once pure will never break. Years passed, the world still spoke his name, in poems carved with royal flame. He never mentioned who she was, yet every word revealed the cause. The world called him the silent king, whose poems made the heavens sing. But he knew well, behind the fame, A broken heart still bore her name. He'd read her letters once again, not to reopen, but to mend. The ink now faded, soft and gray. The pain had too begun to fade away. One night, beneath the crescent moon, he felt her scent, a brief monsoon. Was it her soul, or just the breeze? He smiled. "I'm fine. I'm finally at ease." He wrote his final, quiet vow, a truth he understood just now. She left, but never truly gone. Her shadow walks where dreams are drawn. I thank her for the wound she gave. It made a poet from a slave. The desert whispered, soft and low, "Even kings must learn to let love go." And as the dawn embraced the sky, he wore his silence like a sigh. The crown still shone, but not of gold. It glowed with peace, serene and old. He found his kingdom, not enthroned, but in the love he learned alone. The years went by like desert rain, soft, unseen yet left their stain. Time had carved him into grace, a wiser soul, a gentler face. No longer prince of fleeting dreams, but king of truth, or so it seems. He learned that love, though it departs, still builds its home in quiet hearts. Each dawn he'd stand beside the shore, where once they'd walked in days of yore. He'd whisper names the sea would keep, in tides that sang while hearts would weep. Love never ends, he softly said. It only changes, not the thread. He'd write by moonlight, calm and clear. His words no longer born of fear, but filled with peace, a sacred art, the kind that heals a broken heart. His poem spoke not of the pain, but of the beauty love can gain. For every loss there hides a spark that lights the soul when days are dark. He saw her face in every bloom, heard her laugh in desert's tune, and though she lived so far away, her memory warmed his every day. The ones we love, they never die. They live as stars within the sky. One night, the sky was velvet blue. The air was still, the moon withdrew. He dreamed of her not as before, but standing by a silver door. Her eyes were calm, her voice divine. She whispered, "Hamdan, it's all fine. You loved me well, you let me go. That's all love ever needs to show." He tried to speak, but words were few. The dream was real yet gone too soon. He woke with tears that did not burn, but blessed the kind that hearts unlearn. The next day came with golden light, and something deep within felt right. He called his horse, he rode again, through dunes that knew his joy and pain. His people watched, their prince was changed, no longer lost, no longer chained. He ruled with kindness, ruled with heart, for love had shaped his every part. He built a school beside the sea, where children learned a poetry. He said, "A heart that writes and feels is one the world can never steal." At dusk he'd sit where palm trees swayed, and think of all the paths he'd made. The wounds had turned to stars within, each scar a place where light begins. "She was not mine to keep," he said, "but mine to love until I'm dead. For even kings, when dreams depart, still carry love, their secret art." Years later, when his hair turned gray, and time had stolen youth away, he walked once more along that shore, the same that hurt his heart before. He looked above, the stars were bright, and one just shimmered more that night. He smiled, "She's watching, I can see. Her promise lives eternally." When dawn arrived, so soft and kind, he left his palace far behind. They found his pen, his final scroll, a poem pure as his own soul. If ever love must fade or flee, remember it still lives in me. I am not gone, nor is my flame, for love eternal knows no name. And so his story gently ends, not with loss, but how love mends. The crown still gleams, the poet's song will echo through the sands lifelong. He was not just a prince of gold, but of a heart forever bold.